All right, so for our warm-up, we're going to practice different types of textures for our Dragon Eye project. So the first thing we're going to do is just using the clay tools that you all have access to. We're going to divide part of this into a section where we can just mess with tools and create some texture. Okay, so I'm actually going to divide this maybe into 4 to start with. And a texture is something that we can feel. And so what I'm going to go ahead and do just with my clay tools is create a texture that is well crafted and uniform. That might be something that I use as a pattern when I press into the clay, and it becomes a texture for my Dragon Eye. So I'm using sort of the end of my fork tool here to create a texture, okay? And we want it to be intentional, we want it to be well crafted, and what that means is I'm pressing with the same amount intentionally, okay, to create this pattern or texture. Okay, so I would fill that space for the first one, okay? Second one, I might wanna see what this tool does. I'll try and give you guys different tools just by taking little sections away from the surface. So all of these will be done just very surface level. And again, I'm trying to keep the way that I use my tools in the clay as even as possible to create a well-crafted, intentional texture. Okay, and I would continue to fill this space. Okay, the next couple textures I'm going to do are going to be ones that are more sculptural. Okay, so based on form. Okay, anytime I'm attaching a piece of clay to another clay, I do need to scratch it or score it, add water, which is your slip, and then pull clay over the seam. Okay. So let's say I want to take a moment and add things like little scales. Okay. Anytime you're adding clay to another piece of clay, you want to keep it about the same amount as, same thickness as the width of your pinky, no more, no less. Okay, so you don't want something to be really super thick where it won't dry out, or super thin where it will dry out very quickly and crack. So when I add this, I am going to scratch both surfaces, add a little bit of water. Okay, those scratch marks are score marks. This, just a small smidgy using the yellow clay brush. And then I am going to attach it on. Okay, now at this point it's not attached on. I do need to take some extra time and pull that clay over the seam all the way around. Okay. And for the next scale, let's say, I'm doing my intentional texture here. Okay, I'm creating sculptural texture. Okay. So rather than pressing into the clay, I am creating something that's additive. So I'm adding pieces of clay together to create a raised texture of some kind. Okay, let's say this is my second scale. I want to attach one, scratch it, both surfaces, that's your score marks, add a little bit of water. Okay, and then pull that clay over the seam. Okay, I will also have some clay tools out for you guys, some more clay tools. Okay, so all the way around. All right, so I'm starting to create a raised texture. Okay, so for your warm-up today, I want you to create 2 surface level textures just using the clay tools, and then 2 that are more sculptural. Okay, that are attached on using the score, slip, and smooth method. And again, the goal with this is not to just kind of use the tools however you want and not be intentional about it. But the goal is to create well-crafted texture, okay? Be intentional about your marks and what you're creating so that it looks good in the end.